What's up, my friends? 39 days sober. Complete. I'm on day 40. Just wanted to hop in and say, hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving. I know that it's Friday, and some people do similar to Christmas. They celebrate kind of, Thanksgiving or have holiday um, situations that go on for the whole weekend. So I just definitely want to hop on here again and say to avoid the temptation. The devil is after you. The devil wants you to fail, and you're going to have great days. You're going to have bad days, but ultimately, it is up to you to choose what to do with your day and how you react. And man, Wednesday, because today's Friday now, Wednesday, I had an absolutely terrible day. I was in my head the whole day, listed probably 70 items, and didn't get but maybe two or three sales. Got a few more sales in the evening time. But while I was doing the listings, not one single sale, I wasn't getting any offers, and it was very discouraging. And something, especially with DVD sales on eBay, is that a lot of these media companies that sell on eBay have tens of thousands of items. And that's, I definitely have thousands of items to keep listing, but I don't have them listed yet. So it's something that, how am I supposed to get the results of these other media companies and make the money I want to make by selling all of these extra DVDs that I can't send in or sell on Amazon, on eBay? How am I supposed to make that money if I don't put in the work? And how can I expect to see those results when I haven't listed or have listed in general nearly the amount that these media companies have when they have, I saw a company the other day, probably about 2 weeks ago on eBay. They had sold since, they've been doing it since early 2000s, but still they've sold 1.8 million items. So you break that down within the last 20 some years, that's just under 100,000 items sold per year. And they've been doing that consistently. And they had 76,000 items listed, literally listed, available. And they had over like 500,000 reviews. And so how can I expect to see, $5, $10, $20,000 months if I don't have the products available to sell in the first place? And you have to understand that eBay is more of the waiting game for a lot of items. You can still sell things really fast, but you are partially in the storage business. It isn't Amazon FBA where you're sending everything in and they're in the storage business. They're holding it for you and they're charging a premium to sell your items for you, to do the shipment, all the packing, returns, all that, while, you're just able to send it in and make sure you send in positive or good products. Versus in the eBay business, you are in partially the storage business. And so something that I had to come to realize is that I need to, again, continue to work on what I can control and not focus on the future, because I don't know what the future holds, but I do know that if I keep putting in the work today, I'm going to have a lot of success in the future, as well as continuing to have more items to send into Amazon. For now, I think I am going to stay with the DVD and book sector, CDs, basically media, because it's what I know. And I've spent so much money with wholesale spinning my wheels. When I've talked about this in the past, I should have spent my time 6 months ago when I had the money to do it, focusing on what was in front of me, and I didn't. Versus now I've just spent so much time and energy and even money on softwares and all this shit trying to figure out wholesale, where I'm coming to the conclusion now that even if I found a profitable product, I don't really have any money to buy those products with. I'm kind of just fucked. And so I need to stick with what I have right in front of me, which is thousands of DVDs that need to be listed. And when you have thousands of listings, that's how you're going to be able to start selling thousands or hundreds of items, or 10, 20, 30 items a day, to where it equals 3, 4, 500, 1,000 items a month, depending on how many you have listed. And so the reason I even bring that story up is because Wednesday I listed 70 items or whatever and was all in my head, frustrated, blah, blah, blah. And then yesterday for Thanksgiving was a great day. Didn't list anything, spent time with my mother, doing Thanksgiving stuff, cooked, all that stuff. It was a great time, watched some movies. And we ended up selling like 20 items yesterday. Because another thing you have to realize with selling on eBay or selling online in general, people are going to have more free time after work or when there's no work, such as a holiday like Thanksgiving, or as I said on Wednesday, we did sell some items in the evening. So in the evening time when people are free to scroll. Same thing with Fridays and the weekends. People get their paycheck. You're going to sell more things, more likely, not can always, but most likely on the weekends because people have money to blow. They just got their paycheck, and you know how people can be. I know how I have been by just blowing money when I have it. And so I say all this to say is you just have to focus on what you have in front of you, and that's what you can control. Whether it's the temptation, you can control the temptation if your family is celebrating the holidays and you do have a drinking problem or you do have a weed problem. Let's say your friends and family smoke. You can control the temptation by choosing to go into a different room, or choosing to say no, or choosing just to not have it around you, or choosing, especially if it's friends, to find new friends or to not hang out with them all the time, or to make the hard decision to not hang out with them when they choose to smoke or do whatever drugs that you're trying to quit. You're on this journey of becoming sober. And so this video is still about temptation, but it's also about controlling the controllables. You can focus on the now, and that is going to predict your future for you. So if you're always hanging around losers, you're going to become a loser. If you're always hanging around winners, you're going to become a winner, even if you don't feel like you are one, or if you don't see that you're going to become one. The chances are in your favor that what you are around or what you do will predict your future and who you become. So even when I'm sitting here alone, sitting here scanning DVDs and watching all this stuff, I'm watching this guy, Tekken Sports, who at one point sold, make sure the volume doesn't come on, at one point, was selling making $5 million in profit from selling on eBay a year by selling hundreds and hundreds of thousands of items, and just influencing myself, listening to this on a regular basis, listening to, positive messages, listening to people that talk about Jesus and God and interviews to continue my faith and build my strength in my faith, and to continue to build my knowledge in eBay and Amazon. That is what's going to determine where I'm at 6 months from now. That is going to determine where I'm at a year from now. And the same thing goes for you. If you want to be successful, if you want to be sober, if you want to live a clean and sober life and be able to experience life on the clean side, what it's like making it past the first month, second month, third month, or whatever it is, you have to focus on what you can control now, which means avoiding those temptations, focusing on what you can control right now, saying no, or if it comes to selling something online, saying yes, doing the work, even if you're not seeing the results. Like Wednesday, even though I wasn't seeing the results, and even though I felt was having a terrible day, I could have let the devil win. I could have freaking went and bought some weed or bought something from a vape store, fake weed or whatever, and got high, but I didn't. I refuse. And for me, like I've said, not to trigger anybody, but I've never had a drinking problem. So it's like yesterday during Thanksgiving, I did have a couple glasses of wine because it's not something that affects me. One, I don't like getting drunk, and wine is, for me, I don't get drunk off wine, and it's not something that I'm like, oh, I need to drink wine every day, or I need to have a beer, or I need to have this, especially with liquor. Like I try to stay away from any hard liquor, even though I know it's not a problem. Liquor does get you drunk. And so the point I'm making is you have to know what triggers you, and you have to know what affects you to be able to prevent you falling back into the trap of who you were or who you were compared to who you're trying to become. And I know that I am destined to be a winner. I could be way further ahead if I would have never touched weed, but guess what? I did. I can't live in that past. What I can do is live in the present right now to control my future and do what I know I need to do. And so it's just super important that you live in the moment and that you're able to control what you have in front of you. Because if you want to be sober 6 months from now, you have to say no every single day until you get to those 6 months. And then if you want to make it from 6 months to 12 months, you have to be able to continue to say no. And the more that you say no, the stronger you become, the better it's going to be for you, and the easier it's going to become for you to avoid all temptations in general. Whether again it's pornography or gambling or other drugs, like whatever it is, even hanging out with friends that you know are a bad influence, being able to distance yourself, being able to go to places where the friends that you, the people that, the person that you want to be, those type of people are also there. Whether it's the gym, maybe you don't go to the gym and you want to be around clean and sober people. There are going to be more healthier people who don't do drugs, who don't do, who don't have bad addictions. Not saying everybody, of course, but those people are going to most likely be at the gym or be, doing like things like running clubs or be in other types of sports and fitness clubs. And so you have to make the determination and decision of, you have to make the decision of who you want to be and then be determined to make those actions day by day to get to that point. And that's why it's so important to have a role model as yourself 5 years from now, as the person that you see yourself becoming, as your role model. Not somebody else that you don't know what they've been through, because then you're going to compare yourself and your life to them. But when you use yourself as your role model, you know exactly what you've been through, you know who you are, and you know who you want to become, and you can envision what it would be like to be that version of you that doesn't have these limiting beliefs, it doesn't have these huge distractions, it doesn't have these addictions that hold you back. And you can look up to that person because that person is you. And you're not comparing yourself to anybody else because you have lived your life. And you can base your role model, you, on what does that person do and who I want to become. What did they do to get there? Okay, so I need to do the same thing. And eventually you'll be 5 years in the future. And then that role model will be 5 years ahead of you again. Because you're never going to get to that role model, to get to that perfect version of yourself that you envision. Because we live in an ever-going journey of life, and it never ends until the day that we die, and we don't know when that day is going to come. So you have to take advantage of right now in order to beat these addictions, to beat these temptations, to become the winner that you know you're going to be, to have the business that you know you're going to be, or to have that job position that you know that you're going to have, or to have those, materialistic items that you know you want. Even though I've said before, it's not bad to have those things, but you cannot worship those things as your God. You have to have something bigger than yourself to look forward to, and something bigger than yourself to help you through this journey, aside from yourself as a role model. And that's why I choose to follow Jesus Christ and God, and I'm still only, maybe a month into this journey, so I am super new to it. But I am accepting it as my fate, as my future, and who I want to become. And I even heard on a podcast today, I don't remember the statistic, but there is a way higher statistic of people feeling at peace and feeling at love and being genuinely happy and peaceful within their lives, which is able to allow themselves to do the same for others, for those who follow Jesus Christ and God, and who are living towards a higher purpose and not just living for themselves. And so ultimately, whether this video makes sense or not, the ultimate goal is to focus on the present, focus on what you can control right now, and avoid the temptations that you know you're beating, that you have to continue to put behind you in your past, or the temptations that you know you are faced with every single day that maybe you haven't yet overcome. And ultimately, I am here to help in any way I can. Again, I can't respond to all the comments because I get a lot of them now, but you can join my Discord for free, of course. And just come and hang out and vibe. And if you have something to talk about, it's a safe place. I do not tolerate disrespect or hate in my Discord, and people can be banned, which has never happened yet, but you will be banned without even question. Same thing goes for if you're trying to sell something, because we don't sell anything in the group. It's purely for support. It's purely for friendship, relationship based, for people that are just on the journey of becoming that best version of themselves. And I know that you want to be that person that is the best version of yourself, and start and become that every single day, because every single day that we have is another opportunity to become a better version of who we know we want to be. So I love you. God bless. We'll see you tomorrow for day 40. Gonna keep these videos rocking and rolling, baby. And hope everybody has a blessed day, had a great Thanksgiving. And remember, one last final time, if your family does celebrate the holidays, such as Thanksgiving, for an entire weekend, avoid the temptation. Or if you haven't celebrated it yet, avoid the temptation. Be strong in the moment. And even if it's hard, avoid certain people or certain situations that you know will come up. because you know your family or your life better than I do. Just like I know my life better than other people will know my life. So we have to take control of what we have in front of us, and only ourselves can save ourselves. No one can come and save you. You have to make the right choices right now, today, in this moment, to continue minute by minute, day by day, brick by brick on becoming the person that you know you are on the path to becoming. God bless. Love you. Jesus loves you. See you tomorrow.